Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I'm Bancroft being joined once again by Jimmy, Tanner, and like always, Fluff.
Yes, sir.
What's up?
What's going on, people?
And like always, there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them, they're there for a reason. Today's matchup, I finally brought out Son Gohan, giving my take on this new mono red leader, while Jimmy's brought back Videl, but he's twisted it up a little bit. He's added black to it. So,
Oh, don't spoil it.
well, I mean, I think your first charge is a black card.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're colorblind.
Alright, so that's bad. What were you playing then?
I don't know. I'm colorblind as well.
Fair enough. Alright. So last week we kind of went over what Videl did. Do you want to talk about like why going the multicolor route was a thing?
So I felt like Videl, like the green red variant, was just kind of garbage. Not actual garbage. I just didn't really like it. It was just really paced weirdly. It didn't really do much, and it really relied on your opponent fucking up for you able to get the upper hand in a lot of situations. So I wanted something to have a little bit more power. And it was actually Jake that put me on it. He told me about a list that I believe the first person to show it was Paladino, of a green-black variant running the Gogeta package. So I started looking into it, and the way that I was reading into the way the deck wants to play is like Dark Broly, but it gets to use Dormant Potential, which just sounds broke as hell inside my head, so I was like, I want to try this. And it actually functions a lot better than I expected. It's been a really fun deck to pilot. I don't think it's like, super meta, but it is like it can catch some games. Like, I really like it.
I remember playing against it. I didn't feel like it was as aggro as your green variant, but in the later rounds, I was like, "What the hell is going on all of a sudden?" So, which is really nice.
Which we'll get into it. You played your turns very well, which I don't want to say I wasn't expecting you to play them well, but I just wasn't expecting you to take the turns the way you did. So there's some situations where I could have played a little bit better, played a little bit more cautiously, and I really stuck my neck out a couple of times in this match. But tell us about this Gohan deck, because I've been super interested in what this deck can do, because I've seen a lot of hype around it, but I really haven't seen it in action.
So, what really turned me on to this deck was the blue Gohan from back in the day. I liked what the idea of that deck could have been, and so I wanted to try this red version out. This is I feel like this draws way more than the original deck, because I can't remember. I don't think the blue one you could get draws on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, it would have to be on your turn.
And so having this leader being able to draw on both your and your opponent's turns, and there's other cards that allow you to draw more than just the leaders, which is pretty nice. I found turns where I was drawing like 3 cards because of just two different interactions, which is pretty nice. Mm-hmm. So turn 1 is typically, I don't normally like to play a card in turn 1 because I play the 18s, which allows me to get a draw on your swing and then play a battle card right away. But I didn't have any skill lists, so I had to play this Krillin. And the go-to turn 2 is always a Unison. And I felt like in this particular matchup, because I remember how crazy Videl was when we played last week, I was like, okay, he's going to bring out some crazy-ass green stuff in a second. Might as well play Piccolo, get him to a point where I can just do the -2 and just wipe your entire board. No problem. And that's why I focus on your skill list. I'm like, I got to cut this down. And unintentionally, I wasn't aware of how good of a play that was.
Yeah, it was I'll let you go in just a moment, Tanner, but the setup that I had the ability to go into both of my 6-drop Goku and Vegeta Xenos off of my skill list on this turn, but you wiping them so quickly really threw a wrench in things, because you see I charged one Goku and I comboed another Vegeta on turn 1 because I just felt really safe for some reason. and putting them in the drop area, it kind of bricked out my hand to the point where I didn't have any skillnesses to play and I didn't have anything to tap energy for. So I really just charge pass, or I swing with the leader to get a draw and then let it bounce. But I was really on the back foot going into that turn.
I was curious, Bancroft, did you know he had those 30k evolve targets in there?
No. So after that round 2, I think we go into round 3, and Jimmy's just like, I don't know what's going on. I'm bricking. I'm like, oh, dang, okay. I mean, if this is a bad match, we could just re-record it later, And after the match, he told me, I was like, so you're saying that was a good thing I did that then? All right, cool.
Yeah, like I was telling you, like, I probably could have won on turn 3 if you didn't do that, just from the amount of pressure I could put on there. I don't really know exactly what defensive plays you have in your deck, but I was feeling really confident in that early turn with the hand that I had. But after you got rid of the skillesses, I'm just like, bro, I'm out. I'm done. Like, I don't have another Scions. I can't put another Scions on field to put another Goku and Vegeta out. Like, I'm hurting.
Speaking of great defensive plays, look at my energy.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Well, that's why I kind of asked. That Violent Rays was interesting.
Well, I play Violent Rays and Topos, and the idea was, like I said, last week, he just went crazy wide, so I feel like Topo might be a better option. Just so if he wants to push, his hand size gets decreased.
Fair enough.
Because every time I combo, I'm practically drawing a card.
I do want to point out that one-drop Gohan. That card reminds me a lot of the one-drop Whis that goes to the Whis archetype. When you combo with the skill, you get to draw a card. It's pretty much the exact same card, and I love that. Pretty much every color is getting this exact card now.
It definitely helps out for like kind of going through the deck and whatnot.
Yeah, the first time I read it, I was like, that card's super dope, and the SPR looks amazing too. So like, that's one of the main reasons I was really interested in this Red Gohan list, because if it plays anything like Whis, I was going to love it.
Seems like a lot of people have been very high on that list. The Gohan, that is.
Yeah.
Jimmy's mentioned that, and I'm not sure if Jimmy able to talk about it, but like the misplays with the one-drop Gohan that has happened with other decks.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about they don't really understand the limit rulings. That limit stops you from activating that card across every copy you have, not just that specific card. It's not the same as once per turn. So I was hearing people talking about putting multiple Gohans on field, comboing one skillless, and drawing like 3 cards from Gohan, which is not. You can't do that. It's limited to one draw across every copy. So I think that might be one of the issues and why people are so high on this deck, is that because they don't understand that ruling. But I have heard a lot of people that do understand that ruling also be very high on this list.
So we're about to encounter a strange misplay because I read 2 cards in my hand and then I got them mixed up with each other. I think it happens this turn. So here I'm trying to figure out what to combo with to get the extra draw.
Yeah, remember you put that Vegeta and then you're like, oh, that's the wrong card, my bad. That's wrong play. And then you put the Goku out and you were explaining the card. You were like, yeah, you
got combo
tap 2.
cards.
And, yeah, you were like, you tap 2 and you have 2 in the drop area. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Like, it's kind of like Ghetto Arrival. And then you're like, wait, no, it is actually Ghetto Arrival. Like,
yeah. So I took it back.
Were you finding a hard time finding green cards to drop for Dormant? I just noticed you did the super combo there.
Yeah, my only other option was Topobu.
Okay.
And I did not know what his list wanted to do. So I was scared to drop a, big floodgate like Topobu. Because I had already charged one.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have read my cards right and you did Topobu, the Unison would have killed it, and then I could have potentially played the dual attack Goku if I would have comboed 2 red cards. But I don't know if my hand was big enough to try to make that challenge this early on.
So this comes a pivotal turn in this matchup. So since I wasn't able to storm out with my big 30Ks and, kind of play Dark Broly-esque on you, uh, I decided to pivot more so into holding off my awakening until I got 4 energy so I could fuse into SS4 thwarting the Dark Empire and just put a massive body on field, be able to untap energy, and uh, I'm losing my train of thought, I'm sorry, but have a defensive play on your next turn.
And man, I just wasn't expecting this. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like so normally I only ever play thwarting like as a finisher. I've never played it as like my first attacking card.
Yeah. So 2 things about to occur. Because you're playing it using an activate main, which is a skill, I'm able to play Yamcha as a window timing 2 to neg it down to 20. We did the order of operations wrong here, which didn't change anything because you're about to attack with it anyways. But it's on the attack once per turn.
Yeah.
Do you warp 2 cards on the field and 2 cards in hand?
Yes. And that's auto, so even if one of your cards have blocker, I would still get to warp them away before you get to activate blocker. And you didn't warp away any negate on that, so it didn't change much. We did catch that. And I did read the card right before I did that, but I was making sure that my opponent chooses and I don't choose the cards.
Yeah, I think what it was is I asked immediately, I was like, so what does that do? And you're like, you're going to have to do this and this. I'm like, okay, well, boom, boom. Yeah. And I think you're like, oh, well, it's all good. So here's the Topo challenge for you now. You got a triple attacker there. I think your hand's decent, but I'm like, if he wants to push, he totally can.
Yeah, I do have a large hand, but not the hand that Videl usually has, because I did not have enough skilllesses cycling through to be able to get that constant draw. So I still have a fairly large hand, but not the hand that Videl normally has. And any other time playing Videl, if I was able to have that hand size, I probably would have took the Topo challenge and, pressured you a little bit more. But I decided to pass because I was scared.
I've really enjoyed your all's Topo challenge and Nate or Sinron challenge and all that. I'm gonna start using that.
That comes from the Maxi challenge from Yu-Gi-Oh! If you're familiar.
So
interesting.
This turn's very interesting. I say interesting mainly because I feel like I had one of 2 options here. I'm not going to reveal if it was the right one or not. But you have a blocker on board. And we had talked, I think, like maybe the day before, maybe on Discord, about like sometimes you just got to try to push for game,
Mm-hmm.
And I try it. I'm like, okay.
Hello.
He has a blocker. He can't stop this blocker. And I'm hoping that I get these 2 swings in. He can't combo out. And then I can just start swinging 2 other cards afterwards and just go for the throw.
Yeah, you had me shook when you threw him down because I thought, 1, he had double strike, and 2, I couldn't activate blocker or counter in any attack. Which is what I figured a broke-ass secret rare would be. But when you were like, oh, he's just a single attack dual attacker, but you can't negate or block on him, I was like, all right, shit, like,
so
all right.
I think the right play is selling him for $800. But,
yeah,
well, we pulled it a half to play it,
Fair enough.
I did have to sit and admire the artwork after this match though.
No, it's we talked about it for a bit. Like I do like the texture design to the other 2, but that's just a solid card. So here,
for real.
You get the dormant out because why not?
Yeah, green's good.
Yeah, green's a little too good. And I don't know why during this combo step I was so scared of you comboing Champa And it wasn't until the end of the turn that I looked at your energy and I'm like, I'm an idiot. He didn't have
Yeah.
any energy to tap for Champa. I was like, oh, like shit, he has one more attack. Like he has a fat hand. My hand's a little low right now. If he like combos hard on a Champa and then swings single strike, like I'm good. I'm dead.
So with this deck, I would say I have played the Secret Rare, I think, a total of 2 times in all my matches with it so far. And I'm leaning more and more to the idea is that it's just safer that if you can make it to turn 6, just play it turn 6. Red has the negates to stall out with Topos with Violent Rays, and this leader draws enough. I feel like you could safely go to 6. Now, granted, if you're playing a super aggro deck, you got to change the way you're playing, obviously. But there are instances where something can occur that could mess up your whole strategy. Like I was testing with Fluff, and he had a way of negating my Frieza Goku skills. And I was like, oh, well, that's game. I can't do anything. And he's like, what? And I'm like, no, I'm just scooping, man. We're good. Like, you won. Good job.
Yeah, I was... I've not been high on the Goku Frieza Secret Rare at all. None of the Secret Rares in this set, other than like Boo, has been really high for me. But I can see that Secret Rare being fantastic in like a late game. You only need to deal 2 damage.
Does that not have unique?
It does not.
It does not, and that's
Holy
where
shit.
So this threw off my turn of plays for a second. I was like, because I asked him about that. And this is kind of where we're talking about how ridiculous this card is. And I think we're like, okay, wait, I have a play for you real quick. So I put them both down to 20.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. This makes it a little bit easier for me to protect myself with. And
Golly.
I will say it was this matchup where I was like, no, it was after this match. And I was talking to Jimmy. I was like, holy crap, there's a key negate I need to add to this deck that I completely forgot about. And that's King Vegeta's Opposing Presence.
Opposing Presence.
Yeah.
So my new
Insane
list,
card.
yeah, my new list has 2 of those. Because think about that Yamcha combo mixed with that.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Like just insanely gross. Putting 2 of those out there and having to warp 4 cards from hand.
Yeah.
Like, and still having to deal with 6 attacks. It's just insanely gross.
Yeah, and that's not the hand control I was expecting out of a green deck.
Exactly. I thought about putting more hand control elements into the deck, but then I was like, by the time that I get to the point where I'm gonna play thwarting, like that's enough.
Oh lord, and then there's thwarting. I'm
No,
sorry,
it's-
was your leader Videl or Gogeta Zeno?
It could be all of the above.
You had the negates in hand too. That's what's crazy.
Yeah. Like I got rid of Violent Rays and the Double Strike Champa. Like I could have made that work, So I had the 18 in my hand, so I was able to get another draw off this. So I'm able to just get enough draws going. Like the super combo technically gave me 2 draws because of super combo and then the leader's effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then here I combo out of the attack, get the draw. I think I might have spirit boosted here to give the extra bump up.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say that pan, that's the one that does double strike, correct, Jimmy?
Yes.
Yeah, that pan threw me off every time I've played Videl or played against you. It's so good. Like, I don't know if that was a very well-known tech, but it's blew my mind every time I've seen you play it.
I've seen a few people talking about it, but if you ask me for deck building advice, I always say you have to run at least one, Further Destruction Champa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think a deck's complete without one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it was one of my buddies that I played with on Untap that was just like, hey, like, you didn't put Further Destruction Champa in the deck. I'm like, oh yeah, bro, I got a Further Destruction pan, bro. That's the real tech.
Just for clarification, those dice represent how many swings those cards had left. I was like,
Yes.
hang on, before we go any further, man, let's not forget this.
That's smart.
Because I've had it in a match before where I think it was a yellow baby, I think it was. And my opponent swung 3 times at me. And I'm like, are you sure? I felt like you've already done this twice.
Is that opponent Jimmy?
No,
Okay,
it was
just-
Nick.
you said yellow baby, so I'm just like didn't know if you were throwing shade.
No, we'll shit talk Nick. He's not here. He can't defend himself.
But dropping man on a mission afterwards, I was like, dude, that's just that you got it. Stop even trying, man. I survived 8 attacks at this point, and I think I only had like 6 or 7 cards in my hand. Like went after the 4 mills, you know.
Mm-hmm.
God, but yeah, I talked about it after. I was like, imposing presence would have been a nice like add-on to the deck. So I actually took the 18s out, and you all will see in the profile whenever I drop it. It might not drop until a couple days from today. But I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep in mind there's buttons everywhere down below, and while Fluff does the outro, they're on the screen.
Yeah, floating videos. Click on one of them. Hopefully it's something you're interested in or something you haven't seen yet. I think the main takeaway from that entire video was that Jimmy doesn't respect Bancroft. I think
I
that's
like
the
him a little bit,
No, I didn't say like. I said respect. But
but I
read
only
your
like
card,
him a little bit.
Jimmy.
He has ED, bro. How am I supposed to respect him?
Oh my god.
This is my outro time. I would like to finish it.
I'll
using
let
our
you
board.
finish. I'll let you
Thank you.
finish.
Thank you. I love you. I respect you, even though you don't respect like my best friend. So read your cards, know your plays. Let us make mistakes so that you don't have to. And as always, fluff out.
Bancroft has friends.